Rammus player takes, by the way, because in my opinion, there's only one proper Rammus skin. All right, this is some facts for you guys who are watching. All right, grab the football Rammus, right?
Oh, yeah?
With the green chroma.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Because the green chroma is the only one where Rammus has signed his shell.
That's so weird.
Yes, there's a signature on the green chroma of the football skin only. No other skin has Rammus signed. So that's the official Rammus skin.
Two questions there.
Yeah.
Okay. Why and whose signature?
It's Rammus's.
What? So he's signed he's wearing his own signed shirt.
Yeah,
that feels a bit narcissistic.
He signed his shell. But you have to let them know that it's yours. You know. how else are they gonna know?
This is my shirt. Well, has it got your name on it? Well, actually, yes.
Actually, it does. What are you going to do about it?
He'd have his name on the back as well, so he'd have you'd sort of just making especially sure.
Huh?
Veteran, we're in game. There's League of Legends. Not too much yet.
This is important, but yeah, there is.
Ooh. Rupture there from Neas. I'm trying to remember the Cho'Gath ability names. He's got the Rupture on his Q.
To me, they're all QWER. Alright? Gonna be real with you.
He's ancient. He's been around for a while.
Was he one of the original champions? I feel like he was, no?
I feel like he's sort of in that vein. Like, some of his splash outs are still very, okay, this was made in 2010. But he looks good. He's one of those champions that does just occasionally come back into relevancy in pro. He might be in a bit of trouble now as Tax is going for a gank. The Rupture not going to hit anybody. The flash away from Neas, but the flash body slam from Taxa will connect and secure first blood for Verdant.
Yeah, there's almost no way that this is going to be punished in terms of jungle. What they have to do is look to make a play on the lane. But if you look here, Verdant's wave is really, really good for them to be able to play back. Verdant got an early bounce here, or Uniq played too much pressure on that wave. And there's no way that you'll punish with counter jungling, not just because we're in the Riot Freak era of jungling, but because Cassio has so much pressure on the mid lane that she can just lean back into bot jungle and defend it at any point. So even though Taxa goes 3 camps into gank top, there's no real punishing window for Sejuani outside of just doing her camps. And Verdant know from their ward coverage that that hasn't been done. They have wards on Raptors, they have wards on Krugs. Gragas knows that he actually didn't sacrifice clear time to do this either. So very good opening start for Verdant there.
Oh, and look at this top wave. This is slowly going to be pushing back into Nellis. So if he's able to control this, he could execute a little bit of a freeze and try and shut Neas out of the game even more. Going down for that first blood isn't going to matter too much for the Cho'Gath. He's still this beefy Chad in top lane with his passive being able to regen the health, the mana. It's very hard to dislodge him from this lane.
No, part of the reason that he has most of this HP right now is because he was forced to burn teleport after that opening gank, right? So he comes back here to a pretty poor wave, but with a decent amount of HP. Nilla, on the other hand, he can afford to lose HP, take losing trades, recall, come back with teleport at full HP. Nilla has 2 health bars here, right? If you model it like that, Cho'Gath doesn't feel like he's as safe as he could be.
Antware is making a small ingress into the bottom side jungle, just going to drop a recall there. Has been spied out and hasn't been able to sort of make that counterplay yet on the Sejuani. And in the mid lane, actually, Erol is building up a fairly substantial lead over Pool 227. This is a decent chunk of CS that is going to be going into the Uniq mid laner, but he's still going to be down and he's still at a disadvantage in this lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the miasma timings in this matchup, right? If Errol's able to use his W on Pool 227 when Pool goes in, she wins the trade. Pool has to go for knock-up trades, get his damage down, and get out immediately before Cassio is out of the knock-up, or shield miasma. If he's ever able to actually bait out the miasma like that, there's a 24-second cooldown window on Cassio's W, and in that window, Pool 227 can theoretically re-engage with E. That's the very fine timing you're looking at, which makes this a skill matchup. But if neither side's able to get those kinds of advantages, Cassio will just naturally push and naturally get these trade patterns off. And because Jungle and River were won early by this kind of free lane victory with Gragas on top side and the full jungle tracking. Full 2 doesn't be able to find these trades.
Oh, but Clyde's able to find Pedersen as Taxa is going to be spotted making his way into the bottom side, so Uniq with that information probably not going to be going down. And we saw a little bit of a move from Antwerp on the mini-map towards that mid lane, but wasn't able to really make it work out. Paul27 has taken it back, has been forced to teleport back in, grab himself some Zerka, and hopefully now that he's at level 6, he can apply a bit more pressure in this lane.
Yeah, but now Errol is level 6 as well. And if Errol ever hits the ultimate on Pool 227, Pool is basically dead because a miasma will come out on top of that as well. And an extended trade will happen. Right. Thank you, guys. I love it when like I get visual representations of the them.
It was very, very close to going down. But I mean, like, now he's used his flash to get away. He still has that ult, but he's going to have to go back. He's going to miss out on another wave. And for one of the big carries on this Uniq side, not being able to get back into that lane, he's going to be falling down, and that's not what you want to be doing. Dragon is going to be able to get taken away here from Verdant, so not the most explosive early game from the 4th place team, but keeping it clean, keeping it tidy, not making any mistakes, trying to secure their spot in playoffs in the easiest way possible.
Yep. At least when it comes to the map state right now early, I mean, Verdant are looking a bit more like Veneer than they are Verdant. They've gotten full control off of that trade in the mid lane. They get the Drake immediately, and now look bot, right? They're going to be potentially in danger on the next wave. Uniq, they're trying to thin it out so that they could potentially go for a freeze. Gragas is around, is actually around bot side right now, but he's going to lean towards top. But it looks like Clive feels very confident to potentially take a trade on next. There's going to have to be blood. Uniq needs to take a fight, but Kevo's on 6. Cyrax is now on 6. It all depends on how they decide to play these next waves. It's technically even here, but actually Uniq could try to play for a lot on the next one. Everything that is happening, though, is happening topside instead, so maybe both sides will just end up clearing at each other. It looks like Uniq don't think they can take the fight on bot lane, given the itemizations.
And we're finding Erol. That is a beautiful cast into the petrifying gaze! The Sejuani is locked down, and Taxa gets a second kill.
So you have to get the knock-up, and then if you get the knock-up, but you get all in afterwards, you will just lose all of your HP. You get the knock-up, you get the trade, and you get out. If you all in and you are committed and she doesn't die, you will end up losing. The matchup is that simple here. They get the knock-up immediately. They stack the knock-ups quite well, but the Gragas disengages the rest of the damage. And because of that, Cassio gets the turnaround and deletes one of them off the face of the planet.
Oh, hold up. Bot lane, we've got a kill for Kevo. Off our screen, Erol actually ended up falling down to Pool 227. I believe that was a solo kill in the mid lane. We're not going to get a chance to see what happened there, but still, it's Verdant on top, Uniq punching back.
Yeah, I mean, kind of interested to see how that kill was able to happen on mid lane. It feels like Errol must have stayed to try to fix the wave and overextended a bit too much there. You'd absolutely need the help of your Gragas to be able to do so. But Paul, with a kill on the board, getting tier 2 boots first, he definitely needs that in this matchup. Yeah, I mean, so long as he's able to get jungle coverage and go for short trades, he could end up getting a solo kill, but that would require bot and top to at least have some level of priority so he has somewhere on the lane to lean towards.
Yeah, like there isn't really a place that he can go. We just saw Cyrax and Pedersen die in the bottom lane, and Nias has, well, he's sort of existed. Top lane hasn't really been able to do too much, and so yeah, that presents a situation where even if you do go to those lanes, are you actually able to get anything? We are seeing Uniq covering their mid lane now, but Clyde has moved over level 6. But they're just going for it again, straight onto Erol. Petrifying Gaze is once again going to lock people under the tower, but it's not enough to save the Cass this time. Clyde will grab a retribution kill, 1-for-1 in the mid lane.
You can see why they chose this Gragas super early on, though. Uniq, they opt into the all-in composition that Verdant know Uniq need to play, feel comfortable doing, and the Gragas there is just trying to make sure they can't get all their cooldowns off on the all-in the way that they want, isolating them in turn. But this time around, Pool 2-7, he doesn't actually get hit by the miasma off this. That separation forces Elle to choose one side to ultimate. She doesn't ultimate the big damage dealer, doesn't miasma the big damage dealer either, and he's able to get his ultimate off and is able to finish up that fight and get Cassio down. I think if you're Uniq, you're perfectly fine trading kills from Gragas onto kills onto your Yone. I think for you, that's a victory overall. Pool 2-7, he's in this game and he is a living win condition for Uniq. But you can also see from that Gragas how the composition will get harder to play if you're constantly in these group situations. They need to get to mid game and they need to get into the late game in a situation where they can split that 5-man.
And shout out to Tax, right? This is a guy that hasn't maybe had as much impact in the traditional jungler sense that he should have done over the course of this split. But coming out in this game, he's been a big reason of why Verdant have been able to shut down a lot of the plays that Uniq have been going for towards the mid lane. And with that AP style build, whilst you prefer those kills maybe on your Cassiopeia, there's still going to be a load of bursts coming out for this Gragas, which Uniq are going to have to watch out for.
Unique's bot lane, at the very least, have recognized that they cannot take any of these fights and are essentially just giving the waves and going for the soft resets. But this gives so much pressure to Verdant that you don't get an isolation again on Cassio.
Taxa once again, bombers in Antwerp. Pedersen turning up with a grand entrance, but he is late to the party. Nothing he can do as everybody from Verdant converges on the mid lane after finding their third kill on the Uniq jungler.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to give a bit of a hats off to Antwerp, to be honest. Like, he is obviously not the pedigree jungler here, but you're correct. Taxa is doing his job properly. He is matching mid properly. He's being one of those guys where if there's a clear win con that he needs to play around, he'll play around it very, very strongly, which in the current meta is almost perfect for him, right? But Antwerp, he is really trying to find these windows on the Cassio. He's really trying to find these windows against a scenario where he has 3 losing lanes, and he has found some. He's died for them, but he's getting his win cons off, and that's more than you would have expected Uniq to be able to do coming into the draft.
Absolutely, and they've been such a nearly team this split, and I think that's one of the problems that we've really had with them. Like, there's clearly very, very strong individual talent, and Pool 2-7, after kind of being dumpstered in the early laning phase, he's come out to a pretty decent position now, 2-0 on the Yone, not yet completed that Immortal Shield Bow. And despite the lead that Verdant have built for themselves, you need to care for this guy because he can turn a team fight in an instant.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, I would feel like Verdant are the ones who would prefer the team fights, though, right? You can already see, particularly looking at the bot lane there, how much they don't want to play into those ranges, and they especially don't want to do it in the group scenario. Right now, the only real way that Uniq are able to find anything is because the isolations turn into their favor on mid lane. Being in a 5-on-5, you're not going to be able to guarantee that. So, split map scenario, right? Yone on side lane, make the game the Pool 2-7 show, right? And then you're looking at the Zeri and you're looking at the Rakan as more of a duo that can traverse the map faster than a Xayah Nautilus can, right? Even on a soft reset scenario mid lane, if they can't win the 2v2, Zeri could theoretically join the fight on side lane at nearly the same time, maybe even earlier, depending on how her long jump's feeling that day.
How bigger leg muscles are feeling? I don't know where I was going with that.
I mean, Zeri never skips leg day. Look at her.
I imagine. Well,
she's
you would
working
need
it, I'm
to
telling
have. You would need to have like fairly decent like legs if you're going to like jump that far.
She's doing
right?
like 200 kilo hack squats like 3 times a week.
I don't know what that is.
I'm not gonna act like I'm surprised. What that is.
Whoa! Hold on, veteran. I'm offended by that. Meanwhile, hold on, Nille, caught out by Glacial Prism, but is going to be able to escape just fine. Has just taken down the first tower of the game, and building back up that side lane advantage on the Nars, resulted in Verdant having...
Because Nars
right
never
about...
skipped leg day in his life.
Well, I mean, there was that time that he had like big ice bars, so I guess that was recovery. Pedersen is not able to find the engage onto Kevra, and now the Rakan is in a dire spot. Just about able to battle dance himself away as Paul 227 gets over the wall in time as well. Pedersen getting ignited, Clyde just being a little bit BM, but Verdant, they could afford to do that at this stage with everybody rotating over this mid lane tower is not long for the world. There is nothing that Uniq can do to defend it.
I mean, it's BM, but he forced the recall to now be out of sync with what they would like to have Rakan back on the map. Now, Verdant are doing all of their recalls. Rakan is only just coming out. Cho, Yone are only just coming out, and because all of the recalls got reset by that ignite, they're all coming out on the map at the same time, which means Uniq can't just take back vision control for free in the way that they would have been able to if Nautilus hadn't cheekily prevented the Rakan recall. You never want someone to just recall on their own. If Rakan's recalling, then we're recalling our Cho'Gath, we're recalling our Zoe, recalling our Yone then as well. If he's not able to recall, and we come out on the map while he's still recalling, we're just going to be at numbers disadvantage. See all of the deep vision that Verdant have now? If Rakan was able to be out on the map 10 seconds faster, he would feel safe to go into the jungle and take back that vision. But as is, he knows there's a risk. The Gragas could have been there, the Nautilus could have been there, the Gnar could have been there, the Cassio could have been there, and he doesn't want to add another kill to the 5 kill total that Verdant have.
Oh god, what a horrible composition to face check into, right?
Oh yes.
Like,
the one I'm most worried about face checking here is still the Cho'Gath, to be honest. I have nightmares about that. It's Rod of Ages, by the way. Makes sense.
Pedersen, I don't think you want to be here, buddy.
This is the kind of scenario I was talking about, but I didn't need a visual illustration of it, Pedersen.
Well, we've already had one sort of example as, well, Ero gets one of the easiest kills of his life, and with 45 seconds to Drake, actually, Verdant already on 2. We could be looking at a sole point for them, and that would really put Uniq in a dire spot if the map wasn't bad enough for them. If they're fighting up against a Verdant with a load of Drakes in their pocket, a Mountain Soul potentially, then it's going to be even harder, and Paul might get caught out on the side lane here. Has the flash, has the ult if he wants to get away, get a buff for that, and flash away from the Jedge line. Beautifully played by the Uniq mid laner to get out of that engage.
Yeah, Verdant full control of the map right now. Full 227 just has to wait for the wave to come in, and that means who's got priority on the Drake here? Sure, Zeri has prior on mid, but you're not really too worried about a flanking Zeri. You'd actually feel pretty confident about collapsing there. Verdant, they're definitely not done. With this pressure, it's not like Zeri or Khan Sedge can do something cheeky around Drake. They have to go back and defend tier 3, or this Herald is going to go all the way to the inhibitor, and opening a bot lane inhibitor at 1830, that would be terrible. So knowing the map movements the enemy has to take, you have a free Drake right now. Very, very cleanly done by Verdant. They've clearly studied since the opening of the split, right? These aren't moves that we would think about early Verdant doing, but now they're moves that we're not surprised by seeing from them. Nice attempt, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you can try that. Ultra Shock Laser, it's done some damage in patches past, but I think Zeri is not quite at that point in terms of OP nature, and this was a big game for Verdant, right? It's their chance to keep their playoff chances in their own hands. A loss here and then, you're relying on Ready to D with Solid versus Veneer. Looking at that matchup, you think that's likely, but we've had stranger things happen in the NLC, but they've built themselves a decent lead in this game, and if they're able to take this and close it out, then we have got all of our playoff representatives locked with the first game of the day.
Is this setup perfect macro? It isn't, but the intent is a hard shadow on Pool 227, who on the other side of Uniq is the only way that they have to deny the clean win from Verdant, the clean challenge in towards the playoffs from them. And I'm glad to see that they're doing it. The intent that they have with the composition is clearly good, though now they're behind on resets against their opponents. Any gold that they had, they kind of need to spend now. Their opponents have spent it, but the Cassio, she looks like she might be out of sync with everybody else. We'll see if they're able to react to it or if they don't have enough knowledge of it. It looks like Rakan's already off to match, so Yone now has to go off the map as well. They're not going to be able to do much about this play, but they at least know that the Cassio doesn't have Unleashed Teleport on the Baron rotation.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a pretty decent-sized resource invested post 20 minutes for what is ultimately just ensuring that you're going to be getting a bot lane shove. I'm anticipating that we're going to see E-Roll then rotate through the map to the rest of his team, and maybe you're going to send Nilla there off reset just so you can make sure that whoever's pushing out that bottom lane has a teleport so they can join the team if we see a scuffle around the Baron.
Yeah, I mean, Gnar has to be the one to go catch the bot wave now, right? With the Unleashed teleport. Yeah. So, do you want to match your Yone up against the Gnar or not? Because your Yone, he has the Unleashed teleport. He could theoretically just be a split-pushing force on bot lane. If you're throwing him top lane, you're indicating more that you want to take the group fight with him. Right now, you don't have tier 1 bot lane out, you don't have tier 2 bot lane out, so it looks like what they want to do is a 2-lane setup around the Baron, knowing that they can't threaten anything sufficiently bot to maybe force Verdant off of the Baron, and knowing that they have a fast Baron with Cassio. They're going for these kinds of brush plays that we were talking about beforehand. The Cho'Gath makes it a bit scarier for me, but Yone, he has the gold, he has decent itemization right now. If someone missteps, this could be kills!
Taxa could get caught! Every single ultimate in the world is going to be dropped onto the Gragas, but the stopwatch buys a million years!
God.
They can't kill anybody! Verdant escape with their lives, and now Paul 227 is caught. Kevo with the kill onto the Yone, and Nias is going to fall as well. A double for the Xayah. Uniq go for the Hail Mary, but the play doesn't work out.
I respect the attempt. They had the priority bot before they set that up. Gnar pushing out all of bot. You sacrifice some economy there for potentially getting prio on the Baron. It wasn't to be in terms of kills, but at least Verdant aren't able to get the Baron off of it because you have sufficient poke with the Zeri and sufficient threat and got their health bars down enough that Verdant don't feel confident exposing themselves by going for a big Baron play at this point.
Veteran.
So maybe they could reset again and get that, but you have to think they didn't have the items to do it then. The enemy's only going to get stronger. Look how low Taxa got here. He won't have stopwatch on the next, but, you know, if he ever finishes the Zhonya's, I guess that's about 2k away. And it looks like he wants to go for Void Staff first. I guess on the next attempt, it might be doable. They threw everything onto Taxa. Taxa turned out to have stopwatch. He's not going to have a Zhonya's on the next round. They likely have one attempt at this again to try to get a really big lead before Zhonya's comes out on the enemy teams. You see Cassio getting Zhonya's out there as well. And it looks like Taxa now feels like he needs to go for it. So we're looking at not very many rotations before you can't do those plays.
Yeah. We said face checking into Verdant's comp is unpleasant. And I think the Uniq support experiencing that well and truly there is... Hold up, we got Nilo jumping onto Sarkis. Be careful, those Paul 227 is going over the wall. Nanar hops away and dodges away from the Fate Seal. That stopwatch! Once again, it's buying so much time. Verdant abusing that item and abusing Paul 27, who is in a 1v5. And I'm not sure that the Yone is sufficiently sped to play out this one. He's buying a lot of time, actually, but not enough. Another pick in the bot side jungle for Verdant. Drake has just spawned. They're grabbing Mountain Soul.
Buying a lot of time for who, though? He is the guy that the rest of the team should be buying time for. And honestly, he's being controlled very easily by the Verdant anti-dive composition. You say you don't want to face check it. You don't really want to engage on it. You don't really want to be in a 5-on-5 against this team. It has too many options and you have too few. This looks like Verdant are looking to do Soul and cleanly close this game out.
Yeah, their play over the last few minutes has been very much, we want to keep our destiny in our own hands. We're not going to flip the Baron. We're not even going to flip a Drake. We'll make sure that we get absolutely everything that we can. We put ourselves in the best possible position to close out this game and secure the 4th and final playoff spot.
Yeah, and I mean, they deserve it, right? There was a point where we thought Verdant may end up going not necessarily all the way, but they were getting so many surprise wins that we didn't really know where their limit was. Then they started getting a lot of losses and we started thinking, okay, they've been figured out, but they bounced right back off of that and became an actually good team. I think they can be very proud of everything that they have accomplished over the course of this split, and they definitely can say that they deserve this spot, even if the last win comes against Uniq in such a dramatically dominant fashion. Honestly,
Yeah,
if you want to give me a game that's won in draft, this feels like one of them.
But, I mean, hey, when you're heading into the playoffs as the lowest seed there against these teams, which on paper are better than you, I'd want to be closing out the game with closing out the split with a commanding game, with a draft depth as you describe it. I want to be in the best possible form heading into the postseason. Cly, maybe a little bit isolated here, but Nile's going to jump over the wall and try and help out his boy Taxa with another exceptional explosive cast to break up the plate as Paul227 is trying to get his first kill of the game, but Nile is on a killing spree to take it out. Meanwhile, Kevo is just going 1v3 on the side. The Xayah is not going to survive that situation, and actually Uniq have managed to pull out a 2-for-2 in their own jungle. They are not done with this game yet.
Yeah, the Cho'Gath actually is doing an impressive amount right now. He's on his 10 stacks, he's on his Demonic Embrace. He's even bought a pot knowing that if they were to lose the next fight, the game is definitely going to be decided on that. Look how tanky he is right now. He doesn't get hit by that much. He gets effectively ignored, manages to get the knock-up, then collapses on Kevo. Antwer's not doing that much burst, but Cho'Gath just removes him from the game. That's an interesting threat then, that Uniq have, a secondary threat over the Yone there that you have to think the opponents have been itemizing against. Maybe you can stopwatch, and maybe you can build Warden's Mail, maybe you can build all of this Zhonya's, all of this armor against the Yone. But the Cho'Gath, you need to be building HP against that guy, and he looks like a force to be reckoned with right now. This Cho'Gath could be upset potential for Uniq. Imagine if he was there on those brush plays from earlier, like we were talking about during the draft phase, right? Maybe they would have had the damage to be winning those fights. Maybe now you just pivot this all around your top laner. We don't generally think about Neas as that guy for Uniq, but maybe in this final game, he becomes it.
Well, he's not going to be able to use that Cho'Gath ultimate to steal away Baron. Verdant spotting out a couple members of Uniq out of position and will claim that one with ease. So for the next few minutes, you've got this enhanced push, and that's going to time up very, very nicely with the Elder Drake in just under 3 minutes. Verdant definitely doing this game by the book.
They have to push in, though, now with the Baron buff, right? So brush plays can be set up, but you have to clear shallow vision. Clear shallow vision, and when the opponents go in to try to take vision back to allow themselves to push up with Baron, that's when you do your all-ins. That's when you come out the brush. That's when you close the gap. That's when you get your burst out and pray that the Cassio is at least part of that initial knock-up silence CC chain that denies her the disengage. Pray that Gragas is part of it and deny his disengage. Pray that this Nautilus isn't the least idiot-proof Nautilus on the server and survives the entirety of the burst, right? They need to make sure that the disengage tools and Verdant doesn't get out in that small window where they lair that CC and they close the gap. Doesn't look like they can do that on bot side. They set up top side, but all of the vision control is already for Verdant on the bot side, which means Verdant have essentially forced Uniq into a 5v5 situation, and we know that that's not favoured.
The wave that they've got shoved under this tower isn't massive, though, and with the ruptures from range, Neas can actually provide a fair bit of wave clear. This does feed up Neas in mid lane to get a shove down, so Verdant playing on both of these lanes as the waves crash in. They are going to be able to take out that tower, and Paul227 is trying to catch out Nile, but with that moment of aggression, that's going to free up this bot lane inhibitor to fall down without any defense.
Yeah, the bot inhibitor's gone. They're heavily pressuring the mid one, and if they take the mid one out, it is all too easy to take that top tier 2 into a flank on the tier 3, right?
Oh, catch onto Cyrex. They block the Ricard immediately. Verdant have already got a couple of kills in this fight, and Kevo is hunting for the third. Zuri, a little bit too strong to play onto, but the middle side of the rift, we've got Neas and Paul227 trying to defend, but it doesn't look likely. The wave is going to be escorted in. We've got ults available for both of the Uniq solo laners in their final game of the split. The defense
not giving him the range.
It's not going to happen, though. Verdant are just refusing to allow them in. Finally, Paul227 tries to make something happen, but it will not. Verdant, with their 8th win of the split, lock them